Shalom and welcome to ReligionWinked TV, where my spiritual ears stay. Hey you guys, welcome to this edition of ReligionWinked TV. And Aveon Falstar, the boy toy of Wendy Williams' husband, Kelvin Hunter. Guys, I listened to this interview Tasha K did with this guy named Aveon Falstar, and I took some notes down, and I'm just going to go over some of the notes. Allegedly, he's coming out saying that last year, Wendy Williams' husband forced himself upon him, and he became the boy toy of Wendy Williams' husband. So, once the music stops, I'm just going to go over some of my notes. Thank you to everybody that showed up in the live chat. It's about 12:30 East Coast time. So, with that being said, I will not be on here long. I'm just going to go ahead and read these notes. If you have a comment and or not, I do appreciate it and appreciate you the same. Anyway, let me get started with this read. This is ReligionWinked TV and my spiritual ears stay. Yes. So guys, I'm not your celebrity gossip blogger. No, that's not me. I just talk about weird and strange things, try to relate it to the world, Lord, and go from there. Thank you to the one person watching. As soon as the music go off, I'm just going to go over my notes here. I did several videos today. That would be April 16th. I did 2 or 3 videos tying into this video right here. So as soon as the music go off, I am going to get into this edition of Aveon Falstar, the boy toy of Wendy Williams' husband, allegedly. This is ReligionWinked TV and my spiritual ears stay. Alright, so Aveon Falstar, the alleged lover of Wendy Williams' husband, did a live and exclusive interview with Tasha K. As I said in my last video, guys, if you have any information, turn your camera on, go viral, get your story out there, then go to the bloggers for like your exclusive. That way they'll have to pay you for your content. Even though you went viral, what does it make sense of you coming with your content, going to the blogger, giving the blogger the exclusive when you can, be exclusive yourself? So anyway, now what I heard in this interview only halfway through, because the first interview was 1 hour and 12 minutes long, so I only watched about 30 minutes of it, and it made me go back to the beginning and gather myself with all this hot ass scolding tea, man, that I was hearing, because when Kelvin hears this, it should scold his little nasty ass behavior, and his nasty ass is going to be hot as hell once he hears what Aveon Falstar is saying about him, right? So first, let me see. He first got discovered by this man named Mr. G, I guess, that used to work on the Wendy Williams show. And at first, Kevin didn't want to hear him sing or didn't want to be a part of it. It's alleged that the mistress of Kelvin Hunter is the one who told Kelvin to give Aveon a try. And again, you're going to hear all kind of stories now that Charlemagne the God somehow was involved, and the mistress of Kelvin Hunter indeed does not like Charlemagne the God. So this is all tying in, right? But he first did a debut on the Wendy Williams show. And if you go to Tasha K's video, you can see all the footage in there. I just took notes off of it, and I'm just commentating on the notes I took watching her video. So basically, It goes on to say here, let's see. He admits that Kelvin wanted to keep him down and refused him, um, and referred to him as a boy toy. So what he was saying, I just was taking notes. They may be in order, they may not be in order. But what he meant by this is somehow Kevin Hunter sexually assaulted him, harassed him, and treated him, like he wanted to keep him down and not allow him to rise in life. And he also said that it was a relationship, but some sort of, we both needed something from one another. Meaning, it wasn't like last year as a grown man, this Aveon Falstar somehow ended up in the bed with Wendy Williams, and I want to know, where was he at as a grown man, allowing another grown man to sexually assault him and all this other stuff. Is I can't even fathom that shit. But anyway, he says it wasn't a relationship. It was like a barter system. Kelvin Hunter probably wanted young, fresh men, and he needed to get into the industry to get his singing off the ground. So somehow them sleeping together was working out for both of them. Let's see. When obviously, I just want to say, Aveon Falstar, if you're still doing an interview with Tasha K, it doesn't seem like Kelvin Hunter helped your career that much. So anyway, thank you to the one person watching. He basically goes on to say he admitted that Kelvin raped him at least once. And that's somewhere around the 8-minute, 45-minute mark if you go to that first interview Tasha K did. So anyway, he states that it's like a rush when two men have sex. Now, his wife was sitting there during the interview, and her name is Jeezy, and she was okay with him saying, he's pretty much gay or bisexual or like to have sex with men. And then he was like, no, we don't have an open relationship like that, but my wife knew all along I was sleeping with Kelvin Hunter. Part of me believe this dude, part of me don't believe him. But if you go and watch the exclusive with Aveon Falstar, the first interview, I did not watch part 2 of it. I couldn't even get through part 1 of it because it was kind of disgusting. So anyway, he said his wife knew from the beginning, and also know that women should know when their man is sleeping with a man. Is that true, women? Do you guys know when your husband, or if you ever dated a man that allegedly slept with another man, were you able to tell that he was kind of gay and been sleeping around with men? He's saying most women should know if their man is gay and sleeping with other men. And he openly admitted that his wife knew that him and Kelvin Hunter was sleeping together. And it's also alleged in this interview that Wendy knew as well. So I got about 5 pages of notes. I'm just going to keep on going through. Thank you to the people watching. God bless you. Please give me a thumbs up on the way in or on the way out. I appreciate it. So then the wife was said, she said the wife was there, and she pretty much was quiet and kind of I don't even want to say humble. I want to say more like a meek spirit. She was just quiet. Tasha did get her involved a couple of times, and she said she knew something was up, but they were friends at first, me and her and Aveon. So anything that came after that, they talked about it was an open relationship, and they had an understanding. And she understood what was happening between her husband and Kelvin Hunter. She also said as long as she was good, as long as he was taking care of her bills and her business, it was okay for her husband, Aveon Falstar, to sleep with Wendy Williams' husband, Kelvin Hunter. Then it goes on to say, I mentioned it earlier that Kelvin sexually harassed him and humiliated him. How does a grown man humiliate you? Now, this all went down last year, 2018. And if you see the video, it's not like he's a young boy or under 18. This is a fully grown man that allowed another grown man to sexually humiliate him and harass him. So I don't know. Part of me is saying here that Aveon probably just slept with Wendy, because some people are looking for a way up, a come up. They want to get their music out there. They want to be the best in the industry. Granted, he can sing. He sounds like Brian McKnight. He can cover a multitude of singers. He sounds good. But did he have to sleep with Wendy's husband to get to the top? And he's not even at the top yet? Because remember, he just did an interview with Tasha K. If he was at the top, I don't understand how people have all this content and all this information, turn your camera on, go viral, and you'll have your own exclusive. But is he really at the top? No, because it seems like he's doing interviews with Tasha K now to still further get his name out there, get sympathy, get payola, clout chasing, and this whole entire story is a mess. So it goes on to say that he sexually humiliated him. He changed his name, I guess, to PM or something like that, from Aveon Falstar. He shamed him, saying he has bumps on his face. Oh, this is the part. Okay. So Kelvin Hunter, to I don't know. It's the same with men and women. When they want to make you feel bad about yourself, so they start shaming you. And Kelvin, is alleged to have said, Aveon has bumps on his face. He has like facial scarring and stuff like that, discoloration. He was talking about his weight. And he admitted to his father when he first met Avion's father. The first thing Aveon tried to say when he met his father was, when Kevin met Avion's father, "Hey, yo, man, what's up? I'm Kelvin Hunter, and I'm straight, yo. I'm straight." Why do guys do that, especially when they're meeting another man, a man's father for the first time? Why would he throw out, "I'm straight, I'm straight"? And Aveon always said that Kelvin would always say that and appear to make himself look straight, but he was gay as hell. He's gay. So let me know what you think about this whole entire crazy story. If you don't think I'm telling you the truth over here, go over to Tasha K's page, watch that first exclusive she did with Aveon Foster, and it will tell you the same thing I'm saying. These are his words. I was just trying to write so fast to keep up with him. But anyway, then he brings in Charlemagne the God, who he says lived in the same like New Jersey house where Sharina, aka Nikki, the mistress of Kelvin Hunter, lives. So this thing is getting a little deeper. Now he's trying to say Charlemagne the God, Nikki, the mistress, is mad at Charlemagne the God for some things that happened with the Jessica Reed story. So I said in that last video, Tasha K may have forced Wendy Williams' hand to come clean, to leave her husband, to get out. A lot of times I think Tasha is like just beating a dead horse to get a story. But actually, if Tasha K didn't beat the dead horse like she beat this one, Wendy Williams probably would never have filed for divorce, never had went to get the cars repossessed today, never had moved on with her life from this Kelvin Hunter. And I also said it's possible Tasha K may have saved Wendy's life, because as hard as she was going and poking the bear, Kelvin, according to Aveon Foster, was choking Wendy, beating Wendy, kicking down doors, probably kicking Wendy down some doors and some stairs or whatever. But he goes on to say that there was a lot of physical abuse that he witnessed with Kelvin beating on Wendy. So guys, I know we be saying Tasha be going too hard, but sometimes, I mean, people may not go hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Tasha has herself in some other situations with Byron Dennis. She was supposed to go to court yesterday. There was a no show. Her attorneys didn't show. But again, like I said, attorneys know how to write letters. Some cases are not that significant where the defendant have to show up, and the attorneys can talk with the judge behind chambers and work some deals out that way. So I'll have to see why she didn't show up for court and what comes out of that. But again, back to this whole Charlemagne the God. Now, Jessica Reed, there was something about an attorney. He said they both had the same attorney or something like that, and there was some kind of interest of conflict of interest. I believe Aveon Falstar has the same attorney, possibly as Jessica Reed, and there was some kind of conflict of interest there because they both had something to do with either Charlemagne the God or Kelvin Hunter, or Kelvin Hunter knows something about Charlemagne the God and Jessica Reed. So that in itself is going to come out, and it's going to be some backlash and, some more commentary coming out about that eventually. So anyway, it goes on. Nikki. His love for Nikki. He was like, he would do anything for Nikki. This is Aveon, all still talking. Aveon said Kelvin Hunter will do anything for Nikki. Apparently, she was some kind of model, and he thought he had a bad bitch or a bad chick in this lady. And he, for the last 10 years, he saw no wrong in this woman and did everything for this woman. As we know, spend Wendy's money, buy her houses, condos, cars. Allegedly, they had a baby together. So he definitely is telling the truth about Kelvin's love for this woman, Sharina. And he also says Sharina don't even like his ass. They call her AKA Nikki. Nikki doesn't even like Kelvin the way Kelvin wants her to like him. She be dogging him out with other men and be cheating on him. He was letting a lot of stuff out yesterday. That's why it was so kind of hard to believe that this grown man would even get sucked into this kind of behavior. Like, your voice is good enough. Just keep singing on iTunes. Just keep uploading your videos. When you cross over and try to start sleeping with people to get ahead, man, this is what happens. Now men are sleeping with the executives. Men are turning their butts around just to get ahead in the industry. And women, you have been doing it forever. So now men feel like, well, if women could do it, and a lot of women sleep with these executives and these men in the industry, and they don't have not even a mixtape out, not even a song on iTunes, but they done slept with so many men in the industry that, the men are doing it now, according to Aveon Falstar. So anyway, it goes on to say, Kelvin would do anything for this Nikki chick. And then he goes into saying, thank you to the 3 people watching. Can you please give me a thumbs up? Then he goes on to say, Wendy and Kelvin is the devil. First, he says that Kelvin is the devil. So again, like I tell you in my morning reads, if you don't know the signs and characteristics of the devil yet, which you looking for this red animal beast with horns and a pitchfork, you got to be kidding me, people. That is the mythology of the Roman Greeks. Now, if there is a red devil, probably Medusa is the only one that's seen it, because right now I haven't seen it. Maybe the Vatican is the only one that's seen it, because they got a head of the Medusa down in their basement. You understand what I'm saying? No, people have this demonic behavior. So when he called Wendy and Kelvin the devil, that's when my antenna started going up and my spiritual ear started to ring, because now it's like, all right, let me see. They talking about the devil. God got to be somewhere in this story pretty soon, right? So pretty much he said Kelvin is the devil. He said he wrote a song called I Almost Lost My Soul. All of this you can find in Tasha K's video, the first interview she did with Aveon Falstar. He said Wendy get side peen. She get peen on the side. He said Wendy don't care about her Kelvin. He said while Kelvin out there doing his thing, Wendy had been doing her thing, getting side peen, getting peen from this one, that one. And he alleged said Wendy slept with Charlemagne the God. So can you see how this tangled web is being weaved right here? And if it wasn't for Tasha K, we wouldn't have this commentary. Keep poking the bear, Tasha K. Do what you do. Nobody's knocking that, girl. But when it comes to ending up in court, I think there's a way that everybody can kind of get these stories out without ending up in court. That's the only thing I don't like about all this YouTube shit drama. It has to end up in court. People have to be shamed and humiliated to the point where You know, like the white man get involved. Like we can't take care of our business. We can't solve our problems once and for, you know, for once and for all without getting anybody else involved. So anyway, there's something that he really said that just made me sick to my stomach, and we're gonna get to that eventually. He said that Kelvin got he says now, Kelvin said he has a 9-inch peen, but it's only like a 2-inch peen. He said Kelvin used to call him like this green boy from the South, and Kelvin used him because he was kind of gullible, didn't know any better. And guys, this is where he goes on to say he suffers with hypospadias. This is a form of hermaphrodites. Like, yeah, he has a clitoris and he has a penis. And he admitted this on Tasha K's live. But I was like, damn, Tasha K, she let him run away with the interview. He didn't quite get into that. But he did say he suffered with a form of hermaphroditism, which is hypospadias. And somehow this brother has a clitoris, or he didn't get into details, so I don't want to speculate, but that's generally what hermaphrodites are. They have a penis and they have a clitoris, or for a woman, she has some extra, you know, meat hanging down there, or for a man, he has an opening. So I wanted to hear just a little bit about that, because I remember this African runner, Cemente, what is her name? Anyway, she's an 800-meter marathon runner, you know, for the Olympics and stuff. And I remember Castro. Castro is her last name, I believe. I remember there was some controversy about her running the 800 meters with the women because she had a penis down below as well. She had the hermaphroditism. She, you know, she had both genitalias down below. So there was some controversy with that. So when he said that, and he, you know, said that Kevin abused him sexually last year, he became his boy toy. So Kevin, you know, he said Kevin found like comfort in him or whatever. It gets weird, guys. Anyway, this guy came on national TV on Tasha K's page, said he deals with hyperspadias, and it's a form of hermaphroditism, and he has two genitalias of male and a female down below. This story gets a little crazier, guys. I'm trying to tell you, because he said his wife is good with it. You can find that at the 16-minute mark, somewhere around 15 seconds. I was trying to take time notes and stamps, guys, but the notes I'm giving you only came out of the first 30 minutes. And this was an hour and 12 long video that I didn't even completely watch. When I stopped at 30 minutes, I was like, you know what? I heard enough. I was getting sick to my stomach. So this is the part that really just made me sick to my stomach. Somewhere around the 16-20-minute mark, 16:48. He said he didn't know God until it took a man to fuck him for him to know God. And I had to take a moment with that. I'm like, really? That's not what most believers do. Like, maybe that's for him, because I had to think about it. Some people go through so much pain and trauma at the hands of other people that it'll force you to know God. It'll force you to run to God. So a lot of people come to God for whatever reason. Some because we love him. I told you I went to God because I was on my way to prison at 19. A lot of people are forced to go to God for some reason. And unfortunately, men like Kelvin Hunter is taking advantage of men, or men like Aveon is being out here chasing clout, chasing fame, and agreeing to lay down with men like Kelvin Hunter. But when he said it took a man to fuck him for him to know God, I said something is wrong. This is ReligionWinked TV, and my spiritual ears stay. I said that didn't sound right to me, y'all. Something is broken and something is definitely missing. even with the religion of the world, that people, it's easier to just love God and know God than for your hand to be forced to know God. And then if you're putting yourself in situations where Kelvin Hunters of the world can take advantage of you as a grown man, I'm glad you know God, but we don't have to get to the point where we're taken advantage of and beaten down by the same sex or whatever just to know God. So this kind of made me get into the story. I'm like, oh, this man is sitting on the television. I'm looking at him, partly trying to believe him, and another part of me saying, there's something full of shit about this man. Why would you wait till now to come out with such a story like this? Because he thought it was going to get him somewhere. He thought he'd be on the Wendy Williams show singing every week, or he'd be, broke through the mainstream industry or whatever. It didn't happen. And when people take advantage of you like that, it makes you depressed, sad, angry, bitter. You got to know God at this point. God is the only person that can bring you back from something like this. I'm encouraging you to know God before it happens. If you know God before it happens, stuff like this won't happen to you. You'll be a little bit more in a place spiritually where you don't want to become the boy toy, or you won't let another grown man or another grown woman sexually abuse you and assault you and humiliate you as a grown man. This was not a little boy, thank God, but this was not some child. Last year, 2018, April 21st, is when he alleged that Wendy Williams found out about Kelvin and the mistress. And I'm alleging here about him and her husband as well. Can you imagine what Wendy was trying to go through? That's why she was falling over and collapsing on stage. She had all of this on her brain, all of this on her plate. Not only is my husband sleeping with this woman down the street around the corner from our house, but he also got this man over there talking about he gonna be a singer. Matter of fact, he sung Wendy happy birthday sometime last year, while he was sleeping with Wendy Williams' husband. But not only do Wendy have her husband sleeping with Sharina, y'all, Wendy had the man, Aveon, who walked out on stage at her birthday, some kind of bash. Go watch that video of Tasha K. Came out singing happy birthday to her. But you a grown full man sleeping with her husband, to the point where this guy said some of the gross things. He took a shit, didn't wipe his ass, and Kelvin went and licked his ass, and that's when they first went in the pool and penetrated each other sexually. Listen, people, that just turned my stomach off. And I think it was at that point I couldn't go any further with this interview. I'm like, I started getting grossed out. I started thinking about them kissing. They got shit in their mouth. It's called C. diff. That shit get in your intestines and you can't get it out. Ugh. I was like, ugh, come on, people. Just to get a record deal, just to be around some celebrities, just to say Wendy Williams and Kelvin Hunter. So let's just keep going on. Yeah, he said he said he didn't know God prior to this. He said it took a man to fuck him in his ass to know God. And I just want to reiterate, people go to God for whatever reason. But like I told Jesse Smollett, oh, my faith. If you got faith, your faith won't make you go out here and tell a lie that two white men, MAGA, whooped your ass, when it probably was you and Lee Daniels laying up in there, and he whooped your ass because you wanted more than that $20,000 he was paying you every episode. Allegedly. That was just my opinion, y'all. But I was like, that made me stick with the conversation just a little bit, to see how broken this boy toy of Wendy Williams' husband, who he said he referred to himself as Kevin's boy toy. So guys, you go over there. I'm almost done here. I got a couple more notes here. I told you he sung happy birthday for Wendy Williams while sleeping with her husband. He said that he picked up on Kelvin being gay. So if you pick up on a man being gay, how do you end up sleeping with a man over and over and over again? Now, he admits to being bi. No, when Tasha asked him if he was gay, he was like, he kind of strayed away from the question, but kind of answered it a different way. And He tried to say that it's not like an open relationship like that with him and his wife, where he's not just out sleeping with men. It was just specifically Kelvin Hunter for whatever selfish reasons. But he said that he picked up on Kelvin being gay, and that Kel said, what you going to do when you get in those rooms?" And I was like, "What you going to do when you get in them rooms?" Basically, they was at some hotel or something. They was chilling in the pool, and he was trying to explain. Kel was trying to come on to him, and he got out the pool and went and got dressed. And he said to himself, if Kel come in here and say, "Yo, man, come on, let's go," I know he gay. He said Kel came in and was like, "Let's go." That was the first time they was at the sauna or wherever they were, and with a pool and a sauna and stuff. They was at the spa. He said that was the first time, but then they went back again, and then that. So he was baiting Kelvin up as well. I mean, he probably was gay, was attracted to Kelvin, because remember, he's dealing with hypospadias, which is a form of hermaphroditism. So he has a clitoris and he has the peen down below. So he could be physically attracted to men as well, but he was trying to avoid that. He didn't come out quite and say he was gay, but you said Kel took advantage of you, and for a year now you've been his boy toy. Seems like you're gay to me, guys. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Anyway, there's a lot of people who are married who still sleep with the same sex outside of their marriage. So anyway, it goes on to say that it goes on to say bang. He told okay. He said that particular time when they was in the hotel, they both performed fellatio on each other and had anal sex. And I think this is when he was saying, Kev, he said he just, some parts was really unbelievable. He said he had just went shit, didn't wipe his ass. Kev came in there and started licking him down. Hashtag struggle toilet paper. Hashtag show me some toilet paper on these YouTube streets. Do something, right? But this is what's coming out of a grown man's mouth. Now I understand dealing with the hyperspadiism. I understand, having people will be depressed, people will have low self-esteem, but you don't let your self-esteem get this low that you have to sleep with another man if you're a man, or another woman if you're a woman, to try to break through in the industry. I'd rather you just come out and say you were sexually attracted to this person than to sit here and say this man took advantage of you, not once, but you went to a hotel once and you knew he wanted to have sex with you. So you go back again with him. And you go back again with him and again with him. And why you can just say no? But again, just like with Wendy Williams being abused allegedly, maybe Kelvin was harassing and abusing this young guy as well. I'm not sure, y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. But this whole entire situation is crazy. All right, so what else he said here? So again, 2018 was when it all went down. He said that that it's not the same man who was last. Oh, he's not the same man he was last year. So just a year ago, he's saying he's not the same man. What type of man were you prior to you getting with Wendy Williams' husband? And he said he's not that same man. You gotta be worse off than you were last year, and you had to have been in a very bad position last year to even want to lay down with Kelvin. I mean, what was he promising you that you didn't get? Because obviously you interviewing with Tasha K, not that that's a bad thing, but what happened to TMZ and what happened to, the BuzzFeeds and the Radars Online and all these other people that could have interviewed him, because he still haven't broke through in the industry, y'all. He haven't crossed over yet, and I don't think this guy ever will. Now it's more like sympathy. People gonna feel sorry for him because of the story put out. But yet his voice, his singing voice, have not crossed over yet. He have not made it in the industry. So what kind of man was he last year to even end up in the bed with Wendy's husband? He's got to be worse off this year, going through all what he's talking about and what. No, no. What kind of man was he? He was a broken man to me. He was a man needing God and needing spiritual guidance last year, right? So what kind of man? He seems like a very comfortable man in his skin. He seems very pleasant. He doesn't seem angry. He almost seems so giddy about it. It was like, yeah, Tasha. And Tasha just kind of let him run away with the interview. I mean, she wasn't questioning him. He was just kind of talking and talking. Then she would interject here and there or whatever. But it just seems like he was a screwed up man last year, and he's still screwed up this year. For people watching, let me know what you think about this. Please give me a thumbs up, and I appreciate you. This is ReligionWinked TV, and my spiritual ears stay. All right, and thank you to the 170 some odd views I got on the last video. 10 thumbs up. I appreciate it. Something to the point where I said Tasha K forced the hand of Wendy Williams. It may have saved her life, y'all. If it wasn't for Tasha K's of the world poking and staying on Wendy and covering these kind of stories, Wendy may still be married to this man who is sleeping not only with women for 10 years, but now with men for the last year. And God knows the physical abuse. I said, you know what? Thank God, because she may have saved Wendy Williams' life. Wendy filed for divorce, put him out, repossessed all the cars that they were driving, you know, at Sharina's house or whatever, and took control back of her life. So sometimes it's not a bad thing when bloggers go this hard, because look what she uncovered. Look at the tangled web that they weave, right? That they wove, and this is what Tasha K was able to bring forth. So I don't think it's a bad thing in this situation right here, because I believe Wendy probably could be dead if it would have kept going the way it's going, right? But I said Wendy ain't gonna let that happen, Tasha K, because then you would be the next Wendy Williams. You would be the next in charge. And Wendy was like, oh hell no, bitch. I'm not going there. I'm about to get out this relationship now. And she's still gonna reign whatever way her career go. I mean, she's gonna end up on top. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna end up where, you know, she's going to think about this. For the last 10 years, your husband cheating with a woman. Now you hear he's cheating with a man. This man sung happy birthday to you, XYZ. So, yeah, it very well could have saved Wendy's life. Cheap Boys, I've been watching you on TV. That's why I haven't replied. But I watch your videos and love them. I appreciate your views. Thank you. I appreciate you. No one in the industry will touch him now. Exactly. I think Tasha K's interview is the farthest he's pretty much gonna go. You know, because a part of him seemed like he's coming out now, like to clout chase or just to have his voice out there. But again, as far as his music being signed, I think that part of his career is over with. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Cheap Boys. And so then it goes on to say, oh, whatever the Big Guns video is, if you guys are into music like that, during the Big Guns video, he said on April 20th, not April 21st, excuse me, it was April 20th. This is when Wendy found out about Sharina. And I believe this is when Wendy found out about him as well. I'm not sure, but I know he said in the interview that Wendy, it came out last year, and we all know that kind of in April that Wendy started, you know, the rumors were surfacing. But he said on his anniversary, which is April 20th, to his wife Jeezy, that's when Wendy found out something about the Big Guns premiere video they were filming or whatever, and that's when Wendy exactly found out Also, he alleged that there was physical abuse. He saw Kelvin choking Wendy. He saw him throw her down, kick down doors. And then this is where I want to say he said Wendy was the devil. So true. Maybe he can get some help too. Absolutely. And when he said that he didn't know God prior to Kelvin Hunter, but he said the abuse and the trauma he suffered at the hand of Kelvin is what made him to force his relationship or look to God. But yeah, it's like he seriously needs help. He needs counseling, he needs guidance. Yeah, he has his wife to be there for him and to be strong, but she was very quiet and not so vocal through the interview. But yeah, he's definitely a broken lost soul. Wendy's going to be all right. She sure is. She sure is. I believe that part. And I believe, she's doing it with confidence. It's not a woman like, oh my God, my marriage is destroyed. I think she's at the point where she's taking control. She's repossessing the cars. She's putting him out the house now. She took off her wedding ring. So it's not like, oh my God, my marriage. No, it's like, okay, enough is enough. But she's definitely going to be all right. She even said something cheap, boy. She said something like, she don't even mind if he want to take half of whatever she had. She's fine with that. I forgot where I heard that today. It was some kind of interview she was doing, but she says, you know what? I'm not worried about that part of it. She just wants her life back. She wants to be away from, what her husband is doing, which Aveon calls him the devil, and I can see where he would fit into that category. But he also called Wendy the devil. And he said just by her sitting by knowing that her husband was doing this, knowing that he was sleeping with her husband, knowing that her husband was abusive towards Aveon, not so much Wendy, but he's saying Wendy is the devil because she sat back and knew all this was going on. So what do you think about that? No one likes a tattletale. He needs to talk to a therapist. Right. And this is the thing I'm trying to say, cheap voice. The same thing with Star Marie. Star Marie had already went viral on IG, right? And I'm only trying to tell this to people. Like, if you have a story, it's so much easier to cut your camera on and tell your own story than to get caught up with some of these bloggers or whatever. But he could have told this story on his own. But it's like he sits with Tasha K, put it all out there, but that's as far as it's gonna go. It's not gonna go beyond that. And again, why come and tell us all of this? Why not talk to a therapist? Why not go get help? Coming on YouTube and telling us all of this is gonna do what for you? I agree. Thank you. I appreciate you commenting. So it goes on to say, I got a couple of more things here. He said Kevin committed treason. I was trying to understand this one, but I don't know what the treason is. Treason against Wendy, treason against him, treason against America. Guys, if you go watch that, it's somewhere around the 26-minute and 15-minute second mark. What else? Oh, they got into a physical fight, y'all. Kelvin Hunter and this guy got into a physical fight. And I'm thankful he found God, but he needs really to find God as well as his wife. She's weak. Absolutely, because she sat there. I only had one comment on her, and she just, I agree with it. We had an open relationship. Where did she say that at? The wife said she knew something was up. You know how you know something's up? You see she said she saw how Kelvin and her husband had a more personal, intimate, friendship or business relationship. They would always be more personal with it. So she said she kind of had the idea, but they always had an open relationship because they were friends, right? So, that's pretty much really all she said. Is she kind of knew and she was kind of in agreement. I said in my last video, I do mental health on this channel on Mondays. It seemed like her, Aveon, and sometimes a little bit of Tasha K. I was joking, you guys can come over here because this dissociative disease, psychosis, is just some part of being separated from reality. And this whole story didn't seem real at first. It doesn't seem like it's reality. But then again, some people, this is their reality. This is how they live. This is how they get down. I think Wendy was just as abused as he was, if not more so, and for a lot longer. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's trying to say Wendy just found out last year, but I think Wendy knew her husband was cheating with the woman probably 10 years ago when he first got with her. It just kind of all came crumbling down and coming out last year when she probably was finding out about Aveon as well. And again, remember, it's something about the house in New Jersey where Charlemagne the God lived there, Aveon lived there. They said Nikki, Sharina, she was living there. So, there's a lot more that's going to come out about this whole entire story. So, he says he committed treason. Excuse me. And they got into a physical fight. They got into a physical fight about some checks that Kelvin, the first check, didn't clear, had his name on it wrong. It was like for $5,000. And then he said Chase Bank cashed it, wasn't supposed to cash it. But they got into a fight over some checks. And you can find that somewhere around the 26-minute mark. And I'm almost done here. Yeah, it was about two different checks. The first check had his name on it wrong, and then the second check didn't clear something. So obviously, he said he told Kelvin Hunter, "Give me $100,000 sign on, right?" And he was like, he said, Kelvin was like, okay, but never gave him the $100,000 up front, for his time, his services, or whatever. But then he gave him a check for $5,000. And the wife did say this. Tasha was like, well, what's the $5,000 for? She was like, his time. And I guess so, going to those spas. And she said he said Kelvin was buying him clothes and different things like that. So how do you let yourself be used like that in the industry? How do you let somebody promise you $100,000, but then he said Kelvin would give him like $100, $400, and then eventually he got a $5,000 check. So a lot. The interview displayed it. Yes, she sat there eating grapes, ate the whole plate of grapes. Absolutely, cheap boys. You watch the video, so. And I talked about that in the last video prior to this one. You're absolutely right. And then the only thing I have left on here is that Sharina lived in the house with Aveon, allegedly Charlemagne the God, and Wendy knew all this, and Wendy knew that they were cheating, and somehow, I don't know if Tasha K made it on the Breakfast Club, or I know that they may have been talking to her on the Breakfast Club, or she might have did some interview. I'm not sure. I heard some kind of reports that she may have made it to the Breakfast Club, maybe just in conversation. If anybody heard anything, you can put it in the chat below. She knew, absolutely. Treason, please. That's what I said. When he said treason, that's when the story kind of started sounding kind of foolish and crazy to me. And right around the 30-minute mark, that's when I was like, you know what? I heard enough. I heard enough of it. I didn't want to take any more notes, but I did pretty good for the first 30 minutes. And like I said, the whole thing that was sticking with me is, how he said he found God. I pray this young man gets, the counseling, the therapy. I pray his wife gets help. I pray they both get the help they need together. And definitely for Wendy, I don't think she's a bad person. She's been through a lot, and in part, due in part to her husband, who don't have his shit together. He's getting him back. Oh, you know what? And I guess this is the way you do it when you want to shame somebody or when you want to pay somebody back. Absolutely. You get on Tasha K's page and she know how to make a fool out of people. Not like that, in a negative way, but I'm saying Tasha K know how to deliver her part. No, and again, she allowed this man to come on and tell his story, and this is what we have. This is his truth. He says he's the boy toy of Wendy Williams' husband. Wendy knew about it. Wendy pretty much knew about the woman as well. He talked how he assaulted him, sexually humiliated him, and I guess that would be he probably was calling him names under his clothes once he found out that he had two genitalias, male and female, down below. That's where the sexual humiliation may come in at. He probably was calling them names and things like that. How do you, I don't know, guys, how do you let yourself be this abused? I mean, I just don't get it. When you're an artist, everything comes out of your fees, going to the spa included. All of that. I mean, you got to figure out they was feeding this man, giving him a place to stay, but still, he did not make a record. I mean, I haven't heard him on, mainstream, the radios and stuff like that. I did see that he sung on a Wendy Williams show once or twice. I mean, so he was going around doing gigs or whatever, but his mind, he thought he was going to make it like Tank, like, Jodeci, like the groups are today. Delusional, absolutely. And clout chasing, definitely fame chasing here. And even if I thought Kelvin Hunter or Wendy Williams could get me to the next level, sleeping with them would probably not be an option of mine. But some people do it. I couldn't even finish it, but I did pray for him. Absentee voice, same here. Same here. I couldn't get through the rest of the video. I refused to watch part 2 because I see she came back with a part 2, and I don't even know what's in that video. All I know, he probably recanted some of this stuff, but this was in the first video. These are his words. I took notes down the best that I could. And it's a shame. I pray that he finds God as well and finds some kind of peace within himself, that he don't allow himself to keep being abused like this. And then again, like, why didn't he come out if it was abuse, if it was a sexual assault? Why didn't he say anything when it first happened? And it's hard to believe that we, as older people, will allow somebody to reel us in. We'll be so weak and so needy for whether it's the fame, the clout, the money, to come up. It's like, guys, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. If God wants you to be at the top, he don't want you sucking, doing fellatio, having sex, or whatever you got to do to get there. He says your gifts and talents will make room for you. And I think that's where people fall short from the glory of God. They don't give God a chance. They find ways in man gonna make it work. Oh, Wendy's husband gonna get me to my next gig. Oh, I'm cool with Wendy's husband, so now Wendy's gonna do something for me. And 9 times out of 10, it never happens like that for everybody. And it's only a few people in the industry. It just ruins one's own career. Absolutely. And I was going to say, Cheap Voice, there's only certain people, if they did go that way, that made it to the top and probably still there, but gotta feel remorseful about how they got there. But you're absolutely right. It ruins his own personal career. And then I think him coming out, he thinks this is going to jumpstart it. He do kind of favor Kevin Hart. Maybe he'll get a movie deal or something like that. He does favor Kevin just a little bit. But I think he's finished. I think anything that he was gonna get beyond what he got is his reward. Because I say what you do in secret, God will reward you openly, right? And sometimes people reward is shame. And it seems like that's what he got. That's what Kelvin is getting. Wendy, I can understand her stance, and this isn't really about Wendy, but I could see where a woman would try to stay married to her husband and try to keep the marriage together. But kudos to Wendy for getting out. Nobody deserves anything that Kevin Hunter is putting out there. So, guys, I think this kind of wraps it up. I did come back and do my live. I had fell asleep, y'all. I was going to do it around 11 o'clock. But we started 12:30 East Coast time, a.m., and it's a little before 1:30, so I'm going to go ahead and play a little music. When the music run out, Lord, what could be on part? You know what? I'm almost thinking about going over there and watch it, and maybe I'll take some notes and we'll do like a part 2 of this tomorrow. But it's just commentary. I'm not regurgitating what Tasha K said or what he said. I just said, you know what? Let me see if I can keep up with the video. And I was writing as he was talking. I kept writing, and this is what we came up with. And I stopped at like 30 minutes. So yeah, maybe I'll go over and just take a peek and see what's over there. Maybe part 2 is clearing up maybe some of part 1. That may be a reason for me to watch it. See if I can come up with any other stuff. Again, this wasn't about Wendy Williams. It was more about this Aveon Falstar guy who came out and said that he's Wendy Williams' husband's boy toy and have been for the last year. And pretty much his take on how things unfolded with him and Kelvin Hunter. It was a little gross test. So, you know, guys, if you're not into the visualization, like some things I just didn't want to keep in my mind. Like, I don't, So I be, just put the mind of Christ on when you watch some of this stuff. Because you don't want these demons lurking on you and just in your mind and thinking about some of the nasty stuff. So with that being said, guys, this is Religion Link TV, and my spiritual ears stay. Thank you so much for participating. Again, when the music go off, the live stream is over. God bless you all. Get home safe. And remember, stay prayed up. And don't let anybody take advantage of you. Know right from wrong. And if you know God prior to somebody abusing you, then you know God prior to being abused. And God doesn't want you abused, okay? That's not something you have to go through, guys. So I feel for him, and I feel for anybody else in this situation. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you so much, T-Voice, for coming down and talking with me. I appreciate that. Thank you to the 5 people watching. God bless you. Get home safe. And remember, let the word of God be a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your pathway. Psalms 119 and 105. This is Religion Wink TV, and my spiritual ears stay. Thank you, guys.